The Uthof's phenomenon, or Uthoff, I'm not sure. Hi friends, it's Adam, the crippled cannabis cowboy. Thanks for watching my video on some of the things that happen to an MS patient or someone that has really bad MS. The one weird thing about MS is MS kind of always gets bad in time. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel and help me out a little bit. That Uthof's thing, or Uthof's, or however you say it, that's the worst one that I've experienced. That's got to do with temperature and heat in particular, and light. There's a few things that go with temperature, but temperature becomes a big problem. When it gets too warm or too hot, that's when this phenomenon kind of starts. And it reminds me of that Wizard of Oz thing, the Wicked Witch of the West or something, the Green Witch, the one that's like, I'm melting, I'm melting. That's what you feel like when it gets a little too warm or hot or whatever. I noticed for myself, just paying attention to the temperatures, I noticed when it gets about 75 degrees, I can start to notice very slightly. When it gets to like 80, 82, yeah, then you gotta be careful. That's when that phenomenon thing is, it's right there. You don't really know when it hits, at least I don't. You know when you stand up, kind of like you don't know how drunk you are until you stand up. Now with the heat is the cold, and the cold has its own set of problems, and particularly with the muscles, kind of like the cold can make you freeze and lock up, and it's just really hard to move. So both of them suck. Either it's too warm or it's too cold. An MS patient, their body is going to act really funny, and trying to adjust to these is tough. Obviously, I'd much rather be cold than be hot. You can always put a jacket on, put another sweatshirt on, that kind of stuff. So I've learned to sort of like things on the cooler side. I can operate a little better when things are cool. I remember the first support group I went to, those happen a lot when you get diagnosed with like a serious disease. There's support groups that go with that. I recommend you check them out. um I have my own opinions about it. I don't like bitching and moaning, so if it's really support, then yeah man, that rocks. But I remember the first thing that was asked to me, other than what kind of medication I'm on, was the how do I handle the well, it was more like a warning about the temperature. They would say the cold hurts, but the hot can kill. I had no idea, I didn't understand that. Now I do. When you get cold, you can lock up and you can start spasming and you can fall and hit your head. When it's too warm, that's pretty much guaranteed to happen. You like melt, so you are gonna hit your head, and I can understand how it kills. So that's just something to watch out for. With the cold temperature, I noticed if it gets below 65 degrees, that's when my body can lock up and all that kind of stuff. And if it goes over 82 degrees, this heat thing kind of starts. So pay attention to that. Remember that the cold hurts, but the hot can kill. Then there's the problem with the light, so the brightness. When you suffer from what I have, your eyes become super sensitive to light. I'm not the only one. There's lots of diseases and problems out there that make people sensitive to light. I'm particularly sensitive to light. Sunlight, to be honest with you, I can't handle, and I love sunlight. I can't handle it. When it hits you, it makes that UTOFs phenomenon hit really quickly. You kind of can't see, so I shut my eyes right away. A lot of the time, I'll open one eye and try to see, or I'll open the eye that is away from the sun, so my nose puts a shadow on the other side. I guess something like that. So sunlight is tough. One of the things I learned is in where I live, it obviously has to do with your climate, where the sun is or whatever. Track the time of day. So if you have to go outside and you don't want that, it's kind of like getting punched by a boxer. If you don't want that initial shock of the light, then know where the light is, know where your sun is shining bright. The interior lighting, that's obviously different. I noticed that the kind of like the doctor lights, the like fluorescent style lights, for some reason those make me uncomfortable. I don't want to say they hurt, but they do make me uncomfortable. Then there's like a regular light bulb, doesn't seem to bother me at all. I don't know, I grow plants and stuff, and the LEDs seem like there's not a problem. I mean, it could be. Looking at stuff, just anything bright hurts. So keep that in mind. Anything bright is gonna start to hurt. As far as the darkness, I love darkness. I love the sunlight. Now I love darkness. The darkness is fine. Being in the dark is fine. I'm actually in my room with the lights off all the time. I'm sure my family thinks I'm like a vampire, because actually right now I would have the lights off. I'm just one of those lights off people. I don't mind the lights being off. Little side note, only for the ones that want to try it. I don't want to say pretend you're blind, but basically make yourself blind. Close your eyes. Try to figure out how to use your body and use feeling and using your balance in a certain way. You have to hold on to something. You can't just let yourself be free floating. You have to hold on to something, and you may have to close your eyes. I do it very often, every day, a couple times a day, where I shut my eyes and I do my best to adjust to like not being able to see, because a lot of times when you have this PPMS, there are times where you can't see. That damn twitching, or those muscle spasms, or whatever you want to call them. There's Clonus is a good way to describe it, if you know that word. That's where you're like, your feet flutter, you get this twitch or something. My feet flutter constantly. Now that has to do with, not only temperature or whatever, you got to make yourself comfortable, but I notice when I cross my legs, I know what kind of spasms I have. I have a really bad spasm that's in my right inner thigh. So if I cross my left leg over the right, it kind of keeps it down. That is handy. That can also be painful though. So I like to cross my legs with the one that spasms on the top. So when it spasms, I can just do whatever. Now there's the other thing of like weighing your legs down, like having a heavy blanket or lay something across your feet. Not exactly like hold them down, but just weigh them down. It chills out the spasms. Like the spasms still happen, but your legs just don't go flying. I actually have to use it all the time now, doing it in MRI. They have these little weighted kind of like things that they just drape across your legs to chill out the spasms a little bit. And they actually work. I would love to get one to sleep with. So weighing your legs down will chill out the frequency of the spasms, or how much your leg can move. It's spasms suck. Either way, whether it's a true twitch, whether it's spasm, they completely suck. For some weird reason, stress and negativity, they're directly related to like the spasms and the shaking or whatever. If somebody yells at me or I feel bad, then the shaking goes crazy. It's hard to deal with. So keep that in mind, that you have to keep your stress levels as low as you can. That comes into your quality of life. Look at your quality of life. Is there any way you can improve your quality of life? That's all I got at the moment. I'm sure there's plenty more coming. You know, I'm versing myself in this because I feel bad for people that are like me. It's a new ball of wax, man. It's being in another boat. You know, the boat is sinking. It's going down. You gotta do something. So, thank you for watching my video. If you learned something, subscribe to the channel. Help a brother out. And if you know someone that's having problems like me, then I don't want to say help them out, but maybe be a little mindful with them.